and gentlemen, how are you doing? Crikey, it's been a while, hasn't it? Hang on, let me put some news on. Not good news, obviously, because Labour's running the show. Definitely not good news, but yeah, have a look at that. Bosh. Why Rachel Reeves may have to raise UK taxes in October. May, yeah. And I may have to shave this beard off when my wife gets home. Yeah, definitely. It's a defo. I mean, if you don't know, she refuses to give me a kiss when I've got a beard, so I don't grow one. I mean, I know I'm getting on a bit, but I still like to have coitus twice a year in the missionary position, so can't have a beard, unfortunately. Anyway, who's in? I've got the glowworms. Have I? I don't know. There was quite a lot of sun in the UK, which is quite just a nice change. So yeah, I'm back. I hope everyone's doing all right. Who's in? Stephen England's in. No, I think it might just be high blood pressure due to binge drinking for a long time. High blood pressure or plasma burns from sitting too close to the TV with my dad while we were watching Cheltenham. So maybe it's that. Professor Andy's in now then. An unexpected live broadcast. Yeah, because, well, it's been a few weeks, hasn't it? So I thought I'd stick my head in for a bit. Who else is in? Ams, how we doing? Evening. Bobby Crush. He supports higher taxes. Christ on a bike, Bobby. Bobby. Let me tell you, right, when I was young and naive, I would have said I supported high taxes. You all know when I moved out here, I was a Bernie Sanders guy, right? I was a squishy centre-left type of guy, and I thought, you know what? America's had too long with the likes of George W. Bush in charge. I don't think they've gone right-wing enough. I don't think they've gone left enough, sorry. They could benefit from universal healthcare. So I was a let's pay more taxes type of guy. I remember 10 years ago, if I'd have said to you, yep, I'm a sort of stoic chap. I don't mind working harder and saving harder, paying a bit more taxes, for good schools and good roads and all them essential services. But what have I realised in the last sort of 10 years? Well, I'll tell you what I've realised. It's that ultimately, like Boxer from Animal Farm, old tough stoic boxer who just puts up with every ignominy, and no matter what they heap up on his broad shoulders, he takes it. That was the sort of allegory for the working classes, right? Just like Boxer, I'll end up in the glue factory if I just keep giving them more money and more power, right? I can take it. If they wanted me to pay more taxes, and I was confident that the money would actually get wisely spent, then I'd happily pay more taxes. I'm a reasonable chap. You make the argument, you provide data and logic, and I'll buy in. I'm an ENTP, logic before all type of guy. But what have we learned? What have we learned in the last 10 years? What's dragged me from the left to the right in the last decade? It's the unfortunate realisation that the people running the Western world are either as staggeringly incompetent as, well, I don't even know. I was going to say like a special needs diversity hire, like the cleaners on military bases who you see like, dribbling down the front. They've always got the breakfast down the front of the shirt, so you know what they had to eat that morning. And they're just sort of like dragging a shit-covered mop across a perfectly clean floor. Like those type of people. But I wouldn't even say that, because I think most of it is genuine malice and spite following this global agenda. So it's not even incompetence, is it? The more money you give them, the more money you're giving them to forward the agenda, the more money you're giving them to help import the seeds of your own destruction. They don't plant trees whose shades they'll never sit in. They're like a malignant tumour. They'll take from you everything you offer them, and they will destroy you as they do it. So anyone who says to me, oh yeah, pay more tax, like that aforementioned James O'Brien, HIV positive, what's he called, Gary dipshit, anyone telling me that needs to give their head a shake, because it doesn't matter how much more you pay. If they lump 10% extra on top of the income tax, she's going to probably have to, because she couldn't run a piss up in a brewery. But when and if, so yeah, when Rachel Reeves lumps income taxes up, it ain't going to make a blind bit of difference. It might pay for more hotel rooms for swarthy gentlemen who haven't been vetted, right? High risk young men, but it won't pay for anything good. The schools are indoctrination centres where they suck every ounce of creativity and intellectual curiosity from your children. Well, you want to pay for more of that. I've gone from being a sort of centre-left, tax me more daddy type of guy to honestly, I think tax evasion at this point, especially in the European Union, is a moral good. I've talked about it before. You're literally paying for everything evil in the world. You're paying for warmongering, you're paying for dead babies, you're paying for strange viruses that we fund all around the world, you're paying for the brainwashing and the indoctrination of children, you're paying to feed pedos, you are buying Ian Huntley's breakfast, lunch and dinner, right? There's nothing. There's nothing in this world that you can convince me, after how sorely led we've been for the last 2 decades, that it's a good and moral thing to pay your income taxes. So as I said, Jimmy Carr, well done, Jimmy. Well done, Jimmy. Get yourself off to the Cayman Islands if you've got the ability to do it. That's all I'm telling you. Have you seen how much tax you pay in the UK? When I saw my brother's tax rebates, tax payments on his wage slip, it made me want to kill myself. I was taxed vicariously through others. It's the worst thing ever. It was like, yeah, I don't earn pop star wages, but I still have to give 50% of my money to the government, plus national insurance. So if you are top end, because a few of you in the chat on my last video were having a pop saying, oh, why does everyone agree with Bootneck? Well, first of all, they probably agree with me because it's a voluntary occupation. Being a YouTube subscriber, 98% of the people that watch me probably agree with me on most things. And secondly, it was wrong because there was at least 5 or 6 people I replied to in the comments. So they weren't being cultivated. I don't delete comments because you disagree with me. There was plenty of people disagreeing with me, and I interacted with several of them and said, the reason I don't like Gary is because we're already doing Gary's plan. And we've been doing it for years, and it's not working. If you're labouring under the delusion that rich people don't pay the majority of the taxes in the United Kingdom, you've got a severe mental problem. Or you can do maths as poorly as Diane Abacus, because the rich do pay all of the taxes. Someone like Mike Ashley probably pays more tax than 10 million people. The system is weighted that way. When I was a bin man, when I first left the car, that was my first job, driving a truck for the council. Paid almost nothing in income tax because I wasn't earning very much. When you get up to 100 grand, they rod you with a prize-winning leak. Every time you look at your pay statement, it hurts. And then, and this is the worst part of it, they do it if you're not even rich. The very, very, very rich pay like 60% of the money to the tax man, but the middle classes pay like 50. If you're making 100 grand a year in the UK, you're not balling, you're not living in a mansion, you haven't got a yacht. But you're paying 45, 50% of your money to the tax man. Taxes in the UK are outrageous. And where have we got with it? Are we doing well as a country? No, we're not. We're not. So don't tell me about paying more tax. I can only assume that was someone trying to wind me up. No one says tax me more when the money's being spent so incompetently as it is right now in the United Kingdom. Anyway, so bit of a rant there. Let me just have a drink. What's a rebate? I did get one once, I got one once when I left the car, and then had a bit of a gap between getting a job. I think, however the tax year works in the UK, it's like April, isn't it? And then started working. I got a rebate because I think you pay your tax at a normal rate, but obviously it just takes a percentage out of your wage. And then I think one year I got about 600 quid back off them, but it was only because I left the military, sort of timings issue. Anyway, so yeah, as to the holiday, lots of people asking in the chat. So Yeah, look at that. That's outrageous. Sick. When I got a bonus payment when I was working at Games Workshop, they took half off me. And you know what my salary was? You don't earn a lot at Games Workshop. My salary at GW was 30 grand a year, flat. 30 grand a year. And then 1 year, because they had sold a load of models and the shares had flew up, we all got a bonus. And I think I got 5 grand. And over the 5, I got about 2,300. Like, a bloke earning 30 grand a year, if he gets a paltry 5 grand bonus, taking him to the lofty heights of 35 grand a year, the government shouldn't take more than half of it. But that's what they do in the UK. So they're already hammering you. They're hammering everyone, but they're hammering the rich. So trust me, they're already doing Gary's plan. All these people messaging me in the chat today. Oh, I can't believe you've just wrote him off. Nothing he said's original. He's saying the same dumb shit that every left-wing academic's been saying since the 1960s. Was there anything original in all that stuff he said? Anything? Oh yeah, tax the rich more. Oh, what a clever bugger. Well, people are just ludicrous. I don't understand how easy it is to condition people. I know Tobias and military-grade intelligence were involved in conditioning the British public, but I would still think in a first world country where people are born and raised reading current affairs and get told regularly not to trust the slippery machinations of the absolute scum that lord it over us. I'm amazed how many people just took it all. It was the same during the pandemic. It was the same with all of the stuff related to LGBT stuff. It was the same with Russia, Ukraine. It was the same with Trump and all the fake stuff that spread about him. Everything they say is lies, and 50% of the population just happily swallow it all. And they get proved wrong and found out time and time again. And how long have I been doing this for? About 5 years. Everything I've said about them comes true. I was skeptic of Fauci, and I was saying the little testicle-headed, little poison dwarf was lying his arse off. And in the same day he was giving speeches going, oh, it definitely didn't come from a lab in Wuhan. Definitely not. The same day he was doing them speeches, he was sending emails that got leaked via WikiLeaks saying, oh my God, they found out about the lab. Like, that's how brazen it was and how blatant it was. But because most people can't be bothered to put any effort in at all, right? This is why. Because they outsource reading to journalists. The only people who know what's happening are people who consume alternative media. Because the people like me will put a bit of effort in and then read it to you. Because the media just blatantly lies all the time. And they lied about that. And they lied about telling you it was a good idea to give kids, little 10-year-olds, taking hormone blockers and lopping the cocks off. And they lied about the run, and they lied about the jabs, and they lied about Fauci, and they lied about David Kelly, and they lied about the Iraq war, and they lied and they lied and they lied and they lied. And then knobheads come out and go, oh yeah, but the government says we've got to do this. And they go, yeah, nice one, good idea. I'll pay more tax. Shut up, pay more tax. Suck me off. That's my response to that. Not very mature, but I don't need to be. I'm not a professional newsreader. Honesty and truth to Ayrton Senna, thanks very much. Here it comes on the next council tax bill. Climate change and an air bill for oxygen. Yeah, Rachel from accounts has raised capital gains from 10 to 18. What a vicious little goblin. Well, what did I tell you? If you have any means to pay a taxman to help you fiddle the numbers, I suggest you do it, because if you go and see a professional, they do have clever, slippery ways of doing it that's legal and won't get you in trouble. Do it. Because we do it. We pay taxmen out here. I always thought the American way of doing it was annoying, because when I came from the United Kingdom to the United States, where in the UK your whole life, you don't even worry about taxes, do you? The government just does it all. Funny old thing. Do they do anything out the good of the heart? So you don't even worry about it. True story. I mean, I'll walk you through it. So basically, as a 30, whatever I was when I moved here, 34-year-old man, I'd never, ever learned or done anything about taxes. I did what you all do. I left school, I got a job, I started working, and every time I got a paycheck, there was tax taken out of it, and that's the only effort I put in. So when I moved to the glorious American colonies, all of a sudden my missus is like, oh yeah, you have to do your taxes every year. I was like, what? What do you mean you have to do your taxes? She said, hey, you have to file. You have to personally file. You mail it off to the IRS every year. And I was like, oh man, what a nightmare. I was proper offended. Okay. And then she says, it's not that bad. We have a big company that my mum recommended to us, know the bloke quite well. It's $400 or something. And I was like, $400 to me taxes? Oh, in England, it was brilliant. Just like I was ignorant when I moved out here. The NHS is brilliant. The BBC's brilliant. The British government's brilliant. It's all brilliant. Because we've been indoctrinated in the UK. Because we've been well led. We were well led for a long time. The post-war era, sort of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we were riding on them fumes. And then I suppose about Major, slippery, slimy little slithering snake that he is, that's when it started coming in, the rot. When it became away from the noblesse oblige, people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, who genuinely do seem to be doing it because they think they're trying to be helpful. Because he's got no need to steal money, has he? It's like he's already rich. He's not doing it because he wants to rob 40 quid out of an old woman's social security. It's like Elon Musk. People are brainwashing people about him. Oh, Elon's going to steal your social security. Like a bloke with $400 billion is going, oh, if I can just get an extra 10 grand by robbing old ladies. They do it because they think they're serving. That's how it used to work. Posh old families, Roosevelt, his family were like, oh, don't get into politics. They used to get involved because they thought they could help. They were already rich. And then shitbags like Angela Rayner come in, or the millipedes. They're there for themselves. They're there for themselves. Every single one of them. I told you, it's depressing as a working class oik to see how bad it's got. Because when I was young, a bit of a class warrior, I don't like the posh people. We should be in charge. Well, we got our chance. When the normal middle class people started running things, we got our Tony Blairs and our Angela Rayners and our Diane Abacuses and our David Lammies. And they are just thieves. They're thieves, to quote the gypsy off Snatch. They're thieves. All of they do is rob you. All of them. So, basically, I'm all for dodging your taxes. And I learned that moving to the colonies, where all of a sudden I had to pay for my taxes. I thought, oh, this sucks. England's way better. And then I went to see a bloke, gave him $400, and he went, you paid too much there. And you can write that off as an expense, and you can write that off as an expense. And, did you say you do some of this on the side with your computer? Oh, well, you can put your computer down your expenses. And all of a sudden, I get a $4,000 tax rebate. And it's all perfectly legal. I'm just getting what I'm entitled to back. But in America, they do that, and it's better. Because the British government are just taking the piss out of you. And when you're making 35 grand a year, and you get 30 grand a year and you get a paltry bonus, and the British government take half of it off you when you're not even rich, don't tell me it's better out here. Oh, don't tell me it's better out there. Oh, yeah, well, it's all right. The government does it. Same with the NHS. Oh, it's better because, you don't pay for it. You do pay for it. You do pay for it. The NHS, you are paying for it. Every cent, every penny in tax you pay is paying for it. It's the greatest scam ever, really, what the Europeans do. It's the greatest scam ever. Because it's so amazing, you don't even see it until you leave, or you grow up and you do a bit of reading. So because every paycheck was 50% of what I should have been getting, but there was no administration required, I thought that was good. I was like, nice one, free healthcare. Nice one, free taxes. And they're taking half your money off you. How's that free? Think of what I'm telling you. I'm not arguing with anyone. I'm just ranting about it. You're getting robbed in the UK. You're getting robbed. I cannot believe how much taxes you have to pay. Out here, go see a taxman. Does his best. He goes, oh yeah, you owe the feds a little bit, but the state will give you a little bit back, blah, blah, blah. And you end up paying a lot less than what you think you should. So I don't know what our real tax rate was last year, but I bet you it was about 25%, which is way better. And then you go, oh yeah, what about your healthcare? Well, if you work for a living, like me, you don't pay anything. My company picks that up. They go, there's your salary. Oh yeah, and we pay all your healthcare for you. So they're paying it, not me. So basically, I probably pay half the tax of a bloke who's making 60 grand a year in the United Kingdom. They are taxing the plums off you. And what do you get for it? What do you get for it? Nout. That's what you get for it. Nout. Mohammed gets something for it. And your kids get their heads full of cow shit when they go to school. And the roads are shagged. And Diane Abacus has made you pay for every single pastry, hot cross bun and Cadbury's picnic she's ever folded into her fat face. But you aren't getting anything for your money. You're getting... It's a failed state. Everything's shit in England now. It just is. And anyone who thinks otherwise isn't old enough to remember the 1990s, which let me finish with a bit of a rant about that, right? So a lot of you have asked about my trip. Middlesbrough somehow got worse. Somehow. Like they were scraping the barrel in about 2015 when the Tories had killed all our industry. But it's beyond the pale now. Honestly, I could not believe how bad it was. It was absolutely shocking. In the 90s, the borough was famous for being a good town, good night out. It was mint. There was loads of good pubs. There was a lot of nurses there because of the NHS, James Cook's a big hospital. There was loads of birds, loads of clubs, loads of pubs. It was comparatively clean to what it is now. And crime was relatively low comparative to what it is now. I'm not making this up, right? I walked the full length from the train station in Middlesbrough to the Linney, which is, in fact, should we do it on Google Maps for a laugh? I bet I can do that, as long as I can hide all my personal details so it doesn't show you where my mother-in-law lives. Let me have a look. I can show you the route I took, and honestly, because it's not that far, it was staggering. It was staggering how bad it was. So we got the train into Borough, because obviously we flew into Heathrow. And it's a short walk all the way up Linthorpe Road from the train station to a pub I used to love to drink in, a Sammy Smith's pub called the Linney, the Linthorpe, because it's Linthorpe Road. Linthorpe, it's in near Linthorpe Village in Middlesbrough. And honestly, I was astounded. I was absolutely astounded. So, here we are, we can do it. Share this tab instead. So there's Middlesbrough train station, right? Jumped out there. Can you just do a walk? We can go for when I get homesick occasionally on a Saturday, I go for a walk. Yeah, there we are. So here's Middlesbrough train station, right? I walked out that door there. Enjoying me time back in the homeland. I haven't been for a long time. Walked down this hill. Yeah, I'm taking you on a tour now. The Liquor Vault, that used to be De Niro's. I used to go in there when I was a lad. Walked through here. Walked through that tunnel. And by this point, I'd realised something strange, which was I hadn't seen any English people. None. Honestly, and hand on heart, I'm not lying. Everyone I talked to about this was in agreement. I walked, whatever it is, from the train station to the Linthorpe, and I think 80%, maybe 85% of all the people I've seen on that walk were foreign in Middlesbrough. It must be the worst town in England for being a dumping ground for immigrants in the United Kingdom. And just to make it the case that I'm not making this up, this was well known absolutely years ago, and this story, which I covered at the time, I made a video about it. There you go. Why does Middlesbrough have the most asylum seekers? So it's not my opinion. This was on the BBC in 2015. And I'll tell you why Middlesbrough has the most asylum seekers. Because posh wankers in places like Harrogate, Ripon, Thirsk, York, they're still nice. York has always voted Lib Dem because York has got the luxury of being able to ship all of the thieving, robbing, dirty, floppy-cocked shitbags straight to Middlesbrough. That's why. That's why Middlesbrough has the most. Thanks very much. So back to what I was saying. Walked under this tunnel here, and then this is Linthorpe Road, and I walked the full length of it. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm curious to see what it looks like on Google Maps, if it can capture the experience for me. All right, there you go. So there's one foreigner. You can tell by the dreadlocks and the tribal beads around the wrist. Not from Middlesbrough. No. Dreads. Dready. And then who's this here? There you go. Definitely. Oh, hang on. There's some blonde people there. Well, it's obviously got worse since Google Maps went for a drive. But I walked the whole length of this road, all the way up to the Linthorpe pub. And then the worst thing of it, absolute cherry on top of this awful Sunday, when I got to the very top of Linthorpe Road, the pub was closed. Shut down. So nothing good about it. Nothing good about it. It's awful now, Middlesbrough. It's an absolute dive. Look, there's a big gang. What's that? 2, 4, 6, 7. There's about 10 blokes there. You know for a fact in that big gang of blokes, hairy-ass geezers sitting there, look, they'll be from like Karachi or summit. Right. And that's what you get now. That's what you get in Borough. It's shocking. Okay, well, it's 10 years old. Well, it's even worse now. It's even worse. Honestly, it was proper bad. Middlesbrough was horrendous. 85%. That's my official statistic from walking 3 miles through the borough about 10 days ago. I couldn't believe how bad it was. The Linny has been closed. It hasn't turned into anything. But tons of my favourite pubs have been turned into other things. The place where my brother got engaged, that was turned into a sort of hashish place or whatever with a big daft pipe on it. 5 out of 10 of the pubs and clubs have closed and turned into Egypt Market, Africa Market. Middlesbrough's ruined. It's completely ruined. Somehow they've made it worse. Honesty and truth, thanks for another right and centre. We are seriously going to write to our local council saying we identify as badgers as protected by law, so no need to pay any taxes, but we demand protection as and when we need medical help. Well, yeah, well, you know what they'll do? They'll lock you up. Because if you send a letter to your local MP, they put you on the list. The amount of people I've seen recently who've sent perfectly reasonable, polite, angry letters to MPs, but then very shortly afterwards they've had a knock on the door, is genuinely alarming. Well, it's not alarming. You live in an authoritarian dictatorship, basically. So it's all true, is the reason I'm sharing that story. Why does Middlesbrough have the most? Well, because posh people don't want to live with them. That's why. They want to talk a good game on social media and they want to advertise their liberal credentials, but they don't want to live anywhere near them. They will not pay a carrot to have these people housed next to them. Angela Merkel, do you think Angela Merkel's got 25 Somalian pirates living in her street? Do you? No. You know where they all live? Middlesbrough. Go for a walk down the council street in Borough now. Borough Road, the amount, and everyone who'd listen I talk to about it, if you can't tell, I'm quite chatty in real life, right? This isn't a persona. I must have talked to 50 different people about it. Every pub I went in, if I talked to anyone who was even remotely agreeable and I didn't think would glass me, i.e. a Guardian reader, I just brought it up and said, you know, and I was quite tactful for me. I was like, I'll tell you what, I haven't been home for 3 years, and I walked up Linthorpe Road there, and 80% of it was foreign. And every single person I said it to went mental about it. There was a bloke, I told an old bloke about it. I was in the apple tree in Martin Manor, just near the Rudd's Arms, anyone who lives in Borough. I went in the apple tree, I haven't been in there for about 15 years. I was doing the old, nostalgia tour. And I brought it up and people were like, oh yeah, it's ruined. It's ruined. Southfield Road's just shocking. And Abingdon Road it genuinely is like Karachi. A bloke was telling me that there's a really old pram shop in Middlesbrough. Everybody used to go and get the prams. And he said it was like a tradition for like the last century. You ever needed a pram when you had a burn, you went to this pram shop in the borough on, I don't remember what road it was. It might have been Albert Road. And he was telling me it got so bad now the bloke's finally changed and closed it down. And he said, I had to close it down because it's got so full of scary, hairy foreign men that nobody will come to my shop anymore. So that's a business that's been there for a century and now it's closed because nobody will go. They said it's just horrible. And he was saying to me, any of these do-gooders, Charles went up there, looked at the bottle of notes near the Modern Arts Centre and then buggered off. They should have said to him, any of these do-gooders, so I'll tell you what, and you can pick the same road in any of your hometowns up and down the country, anyone who's watching this, because we all know it's true, because we're all working class stiffs and not knobheads who read The Guardian and live in £1 million houses in the home counties, right? Pick a street, a dodgy street that used to be a nice street near your house, and say to any of these lefty journalists on the BBC, there's a tenner, right? And a bag with a designer brand on the front. If you can walk a mile down that street, do a loop and then come back, then you'll see what the problem is. And I guarantee none of them will do it. They'll either not do it or they'll try and do it and they'll end up with a knife in the face. So people who are telling you that there isn't a problem haven't got eyeballs. There's a very, 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 very big problem. And in only 3 years, the scale of the total collapse of the UK genuinely astounded me. The only places that are still nice are the Lib Dem sort of Labour strongholds with really rich people in who have exported them all. They've sent them to Middlesbrough, they've sent them to Redcar and Hartlepool and Sunderland, and they haven't let them anywhere near Harrogate and York and Bath, right? I've told you this, you can tell anyway, because basically, as I've said many times before, I can tell you whether or not an area is going to be Remain or Brexit based off how dodgy it is, based off how many pot-bellied savages that the do-gooders have drop-shipped into them towns. So it's on purpose. It's definitely on purpose. Your country's in ruins. The only plus side is we all saw it coming. We knew it was coming. And yeah, that's it. You just have to suck it up, don't you? As I said, the white pill is the video which I made before I took my trip, which is that long term, I'm convinced it'll get fixed. It definitely will. The stubbornnness and stoicism and stiff upper lips of the British people, who still, even now, outnumber them 8-1. No, definitely not that high. If you include in places like Middlesbrough, you're in trouble. You'll have to push out to North Yorkshire Moors and go to all the little strongholds there. But if you look at the whole country, they're still outnumbered 6-1, right? So when Ayatollah Khomeini pulls the trigger and instigates his global his global religious war, like something out of Dune or something, they will lose. I guarantee you that. So long term, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But short term, as I've told you all for many years, you're in the shit. And it's going to get bad. What do I keep telling you? It's like read Starship Troopers, the book, if you haven't. It's going to get bad. It's going to get to the point where you can't leave the house without being in fear. It's going to get to the point where old people can't walk the streets without getting mugged by swarthy savages from third world shitholes. You are going to feel it. Things like Southport are going to become a more regular occurrence. You'll start getting one every 3 months, then one every 2 months, and then it's going to get to the point where every week there's going to be another atrocity, and eventually it's going to kick off. And as I said, the long view will be fine. Because with a stiff upper lip and some good old British spunk, we will win. But you're in trouble. It's gonna get bad. So as I've said, do your due diligence. Educate your children and your loved ones as best you can. Stockpile legal weapons. Get some rations in your garage. Get some emergency medical supplies. Everything you can do. Because it's going to get bad. Spend less money pissing up and more money really thinking about a plan. The Woodlander's got the right idea. Do something. Because you don't want to be unprepared when it all kicks off. And it will definitely kick off. It might not be this year or next year, but it's coming. It's coming. When they pull the trigger, there are 500,000 very, 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 very angry third world young men living in the UK who have zero loyalty or fidelity to you, your nation, the heads of state, the politicians, the prime ministers, none of them. None of them. So it's going to happen. As for what a legal weapon is, the British government's imposing more aggressive restrictions. I think they've banned samurai swords now, haven't they? But there's still plenty. You put some effort in, do a little bit of research. You want something in your house. Something. I think you can get like ornamental crossbows and stuff as well, can't you? You need to take precautions. That's all I'm saying. Maybe one of these days I'll do some research and help make a prepper video for you lot. But ask Grok what's the top 5 legal weapons you can keep in your house in the UK, because you need something. You do not want to be the only person who hasn't gotten out in their house when there's 50 blokes banging on your door with machetes and meat cleavers. So take my advice. Take some precautions. All right? Anyway, that'll have to do this because I've got to go to work today. I'll see you all on Saturday. I'll do a full length. We'll do an hour on Saturday and I'll prepare something amusing for that. All right? Thanks to everyone for keeping the channel going and sticking your heads in while I was away. I am back. It was terribly depressing. And the UK is an absolute shit pit, unfortunately. Well, we all saw it coming. All right? See you all on Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. Toodle pip. Cheers.